Welcome to the No More Late Fees podcast. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Jackie, and we're just two best friends and ex-Blockbuster employees rewatching some of the best and worst movies from the late 90s and early 2000s. This week, we are starting out Season 3. And what better way to celebrate not only our third season, but also jumping into the triple digits. This is our 101st episode. And we're going to celebrate with a super special fangirl-packed, Marshmallow-approved Veronica Mars episode. You heard that right. Grab the remote, get snacks during commercial breaks, and hop on over to the UPN/CW/Hulu as we unpack this cultural phenomenon. But before we dive in, let's get into some housekeeping. I feel like we nailed it that time.
I never know.
If you love the podcast and you want to support us, here are a few ways you can.
Did you know writing a review and or rating us helps us get more listeners? Let's listen to a brand new review that we just got. So excited about that. Titled 5 stars. I planned on listening to one episode and ended up listening to a few. I found myself all the way at the mini episode that you ranked Pixar movies, and yes, to you all saying Toy Story 2 is objectively better than the original Toy Story. Great sound quality too. Also enjoyed the episodes about Blockbuster. Keep it up. I'd love to hear an episode about the movie Get Out. Unfortunately, that movie is just way outside of our time frame, but really thankful to Nick G 1998 for this wonderful review. I never think about people going in a rabbit hole and like just listening to more episodes. I just figure, one and done, but that's just me not giving us enough credit. If you want to help us grow and be featured, head to Apple and leave us a review. Hopefully 5-star.
And to celebrate our Season 3 launch, we have collaborated with an artist to feature some of our classic sayings taken straight from the pod and illustrated into new designs for Redbubble. So head over to nomorelateFees.redbubble.com and check them out.
Yeah, shout out to Anna for designing our wonderful new stickers. We love the partnership that we're building. You should check her out, Nostalgic Prints. We will be featuring her on our Instagram, so check that out. And super excited. A long time ago, we used to be friends. Kristen Bell plays the titular. I don't like this word. Kristen Bell stars as a spunky, dogged, and take no prisoners when it comes to solving crimes as part of the Mars Investigations duo. Assisted by her dad, Keith, as well as her best friends, Wallace and Mac, she's on the case solving dog nappings, missing parents, stolen money, bombings, and even murder. The TV show stars Kristen Bell, Percy Daggs III, Teddy Dunn, Jason Dohrning, Francis Capra, Enrico Colantoni. Oh my God, I'm saying it wrong. Ryan Hansen, Kyle Gallner, Tessa Thompson, Chris Lowell, Tina Majorino, and Ken Marino. One of our favorite shows, can't say their names. The show was created and a few episodes were written by Rob Thomas. You can watch the series on Hulu. The movie is also on HBO Max. And we do have to give a trigger warning that there is murder and rape. But before we start, let's get into our ratings rewind.
So you know the drill. Before we get into the movie, and in this case, the TV show, we'll reveal the rating our Y2K versions of ourselves we give. Then at the end, we'll see if our current selves agree with our initial rating. Our scale consists of would buy it again.
The best, would plan repeat.
5-day rental.
Would watch again.
2-day rental.
Okay, but nothing to write home about.
And same-day rental.
Just epic trash. Straight up trash.
Dick Calabasas trash.
Yeah.
So, Danielle, what is your Y2K rating of Veronica Mars?
I don't even think it's a question because Mama got the DVDs. And to Marley, who said that I said DVDs weird in What a Girl Wants, DVDs. I got them. Now, I have all 3 seasons. I don't know if I bought the movie. I might, but I just couldn't find it. I was looking for the first season, panicking because I have them at all my DVDs in alphabetical order. And I was like, wait a minute, 2 and 3. And I was like, no, I know Jackie. When I introduced Jackie to it, I let her borrow my DVDs back in the day. And I was like, no, she returned them. So I didn't, but it was just misplaced. I don't know how it got in the S's. It was by Supernatural. Don't know why. Anywho, it's a would buy. I very much love this show. And so much so that Jackie even made me a vinyl to put on the back of my car that says Mars Investigations. And I get so many people asking me about that. They think I'm in the Illuminati. They wonder if I'm an investigator. Somebody asked me if it had to do with aliens. I love it. It's a conversation starter for sure.
Really, you're just a marshmallow.
Yeah.
So, like Danielle said, I was not an early adopter to Veronica Mars. I want to say it was probably around 2012-ish that she loaned me the DVDs voraciously, like sat on my laptop, watched every single season. And I was like, why didn't this not get renewed? Like, what's going on? And then it was a couple years later that the Kickstarter movie was made. And then Danielle and I watched that together. So it was a never seen for Y2K Jackie, but that's okay. She caught up.
It's funny because honestly, if you listen to the podcast, you probably already know this, but besides the things that Jackie and I kind of grew up watching together, there are a lot of things that we do not like that the other likes. And so I was actually surprised that this was something that I told her about and she liked because our tastes are so vastly different. So
I mean,
I'm glad.
You give me a mystery to solve, I'm there. So we're going to do this a little bit differently. Obviously, we're not going to talk about everything, but why don't you give us a brief timeline of the Veronica Mars phenomenon?
So the TV show first aired September 22nd in 2004. It aired on UPN. Funny enough, UPN at the time was mainly known as just having Black shows. And this happens with a lot of TV channels. They'll start off with a bunch of Black shows and then slowly start to change to trying to get more white viewers. And this was unfortunately what was happening at UPN at this time with Veronica Mars and a few other shows. So it had its first 2 seasons on UPN. And every season, even though it was a critical darling, everything, it was always on the cusp of being canceled. Mm-hmm. Then when we thought that it might get canceled, we found out that there was going to be a merger between UPN and the WB. And we found out that it was going to be called the CW, and only a few shows from UPN were going to make it in the crossover. A lot of the Black shows were canceled, just gonna say it. But somehow Veronica Mars made the cut and it was going to CW. It did not make it after the 3rd season. It had that, when you have teen shows that go to that college stage, that's always the killer, that 3rd season killer. And they even did a kind of like, I don't want to say a pilot, but they made an entire episode to try to convince the network, to give it a 4th season with the premise that they would kind of forgo the college situation and Veronica was going to be going to the FBI. Didn't happen, didn't get picked up. And like Jackie said, they were able to crowdfund between Kristen Bell and Rob Thomas and the whole cast, and they were able to do a movie. And then not too long ago, I think during the pandemic, we got a season 4 on Hulu. So that was great. And the movie was March 2014. And then we got, oh no, it wasn't during the pandemic. It was the year before. It was July 19th, 2019. I think it's because I have so much trauma with the fourth season and it makes me think of 2020.
We'll get into the trauma.
And lastly, the Rotten Tomato scores for all 4 seasons are pretty high, considering 97% first season, 92% second season, 89% third and fourth season, which bravo.
I mean, Joss Whedon said it's hands down his favorite show. Kevin Smith guest starred on season 2. We'll get more in depth into the amount of guest stars on this show.
Joss Whedon also guest starred as well. A lot of the Buffyverse actually were on the show as main characters, or significant characters, I guess you could say.
And it did win some awards. In 2005, it won the American Film Institute Award for Television Program of the Year. Also in 2005, Kristen Bell won the Saturn Award for Best Actress. And then in 2006, Kristen Bell and Enrico Colantoni won the Family Television Award for Favorite Father-Daughter. They were nominated for a shit ton of stuff as well. So it, like Danielle said, it was a critical darling. It was beloved by many, except the networks, apparently.
Yeah. From a casting standpoint, so Kristen Bell was chosen to play Veronica Mars from more than 500 women who auditioned for the role. Bell felt that it was just luck that Rob Thomas saw that I have some sass to me, and that's exactly what he wanted. Bell thought that her cheerleader looks and an outsider's attitude set her apart from the other women who auditioned. Jason Dohrning, who played Logan, he originally auditioned for the role of Duncan, and then Teddy Dunn originally auditioned for the role of Logan, but they ended up, switching. Jason ended up getting Logan, and then Teddy got Duncan. And funny enough, the network was actually scared that the two of them would look too similar to each other. So the costume department had them in different colors to kind of differentiate them. So they both had certain color palettes that would be uniquely to them, which I thought was kind of cool.
And Rob Thomas described Amanda Seyfried, who portrayed the murdered Lily Kane, as the biggest surprise of the year. When casting a series regular, he was able to see all the best actors in town, mainly because they all wanted to be a series regular. But when casting Lily Kane, who would only appear from time to time as the dead girl, Thomas did not receive the same level of actors. He said that he had never had a more cut and dried audition than he did with Seyfried. He said that she was about 100 times better than anyone else we saw. She was just spectacular. He continued by saying that she ended up being so good in the series that he used her 3 or 4 more times than he had initially planned.
And it's crazy because, when did Mean Girls come out? Was it 2000?
2004?
It was 2004. Yeah. So she probably
this.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of crazy. She was in the show, nobody knew her, and then I'm sure halfway through, then she was in Mean Girls, and it was just oh snap,
And a little coincidence, Lily Kane was murdered on October 3rd.
That is very interesting. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
So did Lily fake her death and then transfer schools?
She may have had ESPN or something.
Oh, maybe. She's a weather girl now. I do find it interesting that one of the candidates for the role of Veronica Mars was Alana Tall, who ended up playing Meg Manning. She obviously didn't get the role of Veronica, but Rob Thomas liked her so much, he actually wrote the role of Meg for her. Which season did she come in? 1 or 2?
1, 2.
I think, yeah. No, she came in season 1.
And then she had her arc season 2.
Yeah.
You're right.
So, yeah. Good old Meg. And if you don't know, Rob Thomas had another show called Party Down about a bunch of waiters.
It's coming back, isn't it?
I think it's already
Yeah.
on. It was on Showtime, and so a lot of the cast from that show, I mean, I want to say almost all the cast from that show made special appearances or were guest stars on Veronica Mars.
In the first episode of Party Down, traumatized me for life because Enrico Colantoni, who plays Keith Mars, Veronica's very doting dad, kind of just like dresses button ups and khakis. In the first episode of Party Down, jumps into a pool naked and you see his wang. And I was not prepared to see Keith Mars like that.
I don't even have words for that. So
Danielle, do you know who almost got the role of Vinnie Van Lowe, the smarmy, competitive private detective?
I do. I just can't think of it right now. Is it in our notes?
It is.
Oh.
It is America's darling Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd, yes.
Which I can't see him. Like, I think Ken Marino is just so perfect as Vinny.
Yeah.
That it's hard for me to picture Paul Rudd as.
I think Paul wouldn't have come off as swarmy. He would have just been dumb more than anything. Yeah.
Yeah. But Paul Rudd did get to do a 1-episode arc as the washed up musician Desmond Fellows. So he did get to eventually be on Veronica Mars.
Yeah. I love that. I love that about Paul Rudd, that he's just like, because he's been friends with so many of these people for so long, he's not above going and just like doing some guest spots. Like the fact that he was on Parks and Rec and he did such a good job as Bobby Newport Jr.
And did you notice when you were watching the episode that the character of Lucky in season 2 shows up again in season 3 as a completely different character?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute. Who are we trying to fool here?
His hair was horrible in both times that he was on. It's just like Leighton Meester's character. Was it Carrie? Mm-hmm. She had too many obligations to be in the movie, so they recast her, which I was kind of annoyed by that. Because when she was on the show, it was before she got Gossip Girl, before she got big. And another tie to Gossip Girl is that Kristen Bell is the voice of Gossip Girl in that show. So I'm like, love full circle moments.
Well, and Carrie Bishop turns out to be such a pivotal part of the Veronica Mars movie.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a shame that we didn't get the original actress to play her.
True. But I mean, we have all this casting, but let's talk about what is the plot of this show. And I remember when I first started watching it, I was in college and I didn't miss an episode, and I was obsessed because I read all of the Nancy Drew books growing up. Mm-hmm. And so pretty much the premise of this was like a new age Nancy Drew. It had so many of the dynamics. It had a father and daughter dynamic. We learned that Veronica's dad and mom were like the sweetest things ever. They weren't rich. Neptune is a city that is clashing of the classes, pretty much. You have the extremely wealthy, and it's not even just like, I don't even think there is a middle class per se. They definitely have a working class, and then they have the rich. The difference is Veronica's dad was the sheriff of the town, so she kind of was able to like fit in, and she became friends with Lily Kane. The Kane family, their father was a software billionaire, so pretty much like a Bill Gates kind of situation going on. And Lily's older brother, Duncan, get older brother named Duncan. I don't know. It's like nothing else I could say about Duncan, but
Veronica was dating Duncan.
Right.
And her best friend was Lily.
Yeah, so they were really cool. And Duncan's best friend was Logan, who was dating Lily. So they had a little foursome group clique or whatever going on there. And then, Veronica's mom Susie Homebaker kind of situation going on. And we find out later that her mom used to date Lily's dad back in the day. They were high school sweethearts. And that becomes a problem later because we find out they were cheating. And once the story kind of ramps up, or where we see the story take place or start at, is after the downfall of Veronica's dad, because he actually looks at Duncan and his family as maybe having something to do with Lily's death. We find out that Lily was murdered and we don't know who did it. And once Keith starts going in that direction, that it might have been someone in the family, the family just uses their power to get him fired, essentially. And once he gets fired, that puts Veronica at the bottom of the totem pole again. She's no longer a cheerleader. People are talking about her, and she kind of goes on the defensive after that.
And it's a combination of Lily's death, and then she was also slipped GHB at a party and was raped.
Right.
And so she has a lot of issues that she's working through. And
is she working through them?
Well, I mean, so the way she tries to work through her issues is to hyper focus on finding Lily's murderer and then figuring out who raped her.
Right. There's a lot of trauma with Veronica. And I think it's great because we get flashbacks throughout the show, especially mostly the first and second season. We get flashbacks of what Veronica was like in her previous life. And, she was young and naive and sweet and innocent. And you could see a lot of her characteristics now are defense mechanisms. She's
very cynical and jaded,
angry. And she's almost to the point where she's like, I've accepted that this is who, that I could be a loner. I don't need all of these people. And she just wants to get out. She wants to graduate and go to a college far away and get out of Neptune. Her dad now owns a private investigation company, and so she helps her dad with cases. And I think the fact that she has these skills gives her kind of the confidence she needs to actually go back into the school with people who have been just absolutely cruel to her. So we see, instead of her taking on a victim role, she really she goes after people. It's an eye for Veronica.
She does.
Yeah.
And first and second season, and to some extent the third season, there's an overarching mystery that she's trying to solve. Season 1 is Lily's murder. Season 2 is a bus crash that kills a bunch of her classmates. Season 3, it's kind of split into two different. One is a serial rapist on the college campus, and then the dean's murder. We'll get into the dean later. And then season 4 are spring break bombings. So like each season has like this overarching mystery she has to solve, but then each episode she also has like these mini mysteries that she's solving. People hire her to investigate different things.
It's like a case of a week kind of situation. Yep. So also in season 3, at the end of season 3, they kind of like, it's almost as if they were preparing for, they're trying to get you amped up for a season 4, which would have been like some sort of secret society situation and almost the Russian mob. I don't know. That was like real convoluted stuff going on with that, but yeah. And they never wrapped that up, and that always bothered me. Like not even a mention, not even a like, remember Wallace when XYZ had, like nothing, Speaking of Wallace, we've gone through most of the other main characters. Wallace moves to town with his single mother and little brother, and his mom works for Kane. And he actually meets Veronica because what do they call it? What is Weevil's like
the gang, the motorcycle gang?
PCHers. The PCHers, yeah. The PCHers have tied Wallace up on a flagpole, butt naked,
for being a snitch,
with duct tape for being a snitch. So Wallace has a job. He works at the local, it's not a 7-Eleven, but like a corner.
a convenience store of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so one of the PCHers goes and steals, which seems to be a normal thing for him, but Wallace doesn't know that this is a normal thing and that he's supposed to look the other way. So he actually presses the little button for the cops to come, the sheriff's department to come. We also learned that now that Keith is no longer sheriff, we've got Deputy Doodoo as the new sheriff. He's not a deputy, but he was the deputy when Keith was sheriff.
Yeah, and now he's Sheriff Lamb.
Yeah, he's corrupt as hell. So because Wallace snitched, the PCHers like take it out on him. And so Veronica helps him with that whole situation. She takes him down. And Wallace is one of the first people to call Veronica Mars a marshmallow on the show. Yes. And if you're a Veronica Mars fan, you are lovingly known as a marshmallow, which is super cute.
Yep. He says, "You're a marshmallow, Veronica Mars, a Twinkie." And then at the end of the same episode, Veronica in a voiceover remarks, "Well, you know what they say, Veronica Mars, she's a marshmallow." And then there's also a reference to the term in the film as a nod to all the fans.
Another character that follows through from season 1 into the movie is Dick Casablancas, played by Ryan Hansen.
Yeah.
And he was only supposed to be on for like a few episodes, but he is hilarious and ridiculous. So we meet his character from beginning in season 1. Later on, we meet his brother. I think might have been the end of season 1, maybe season 2. I don't remember. And we find out that he actually is the bad guy. Oh gosh. He's the bad guy, but you also empathize because you know what he's been through. And I don't want to laugh. It's just like so sad.
There's
really
lots of trauma.
Yeah.
And trauma is a theme that runs throughout the characters in Veronica Mars.
And his character's name is Beaver on the show. And then Weevil. Weevil is the leader of the PCHers, which is a bike gang. So it's almost like the PCHers are a response essentially to the situation that they're living in this city. They make sure that the people on their side of town are protected. And it's almost like a mini gang because there are bigger players in the city, but for like the high schoolers, and the PCHers are like, the answer to that. And they are constantly butting heads with all the 09ers. So the PCHers and the 09ers are constantly bumping heads. So Duncan is adjacent to the 09ers. He doesn't always he doesn't stop stuff, but he doesn't start it. But Logan definitely is always in the midst of all that nonsense.
Yeah, and Weevil and Veronica obviously start out rocky because he still views her as one of the 09ers, but quickly realizes like she's gonna figure shit out and like serve justice, which is kind of like what he's doing, but in his own little PCHer way. So they have a pretty good friendship going through it, but Veronica for a while is side-eyeing Weevil anytime anything comes up, like, "Are you in on this?" Okay, we cool. Love Weevil. We have a couple more characters. Veronica meets about halfway through season 1. They instantly become friends, and that carries through the movie.
She decided not to come back for season 4 because they were pretty honest with her that she wasn't really gonna like Veronica's friends weren't gonna really be like a huge focus. Because you don't even really see Wallace that often in season 4. So, which, it really sucks. The platonic friendship between Wallace and Veronica is just so wholesome. And there's so many moments that like you kind of tear up because, Wallace bends over backwards to help Veronica. And Veronica doesn't show it in the most obvious ways, but would do literally anything for Wallace. She can be very selfish at times because she's so focused on what she needs to get done that she can, put Wallace's feelings on the back end. Funny enough, the network actually said to the team that Wallace and Veronica would never be together. And that's why it stayed strictly platonic, because they did not believe the viewers would want to see a Black male and a white female as love interest. Remember, this is 2004, not like 1985, not 1995, but 2004. So here's that.
Same bullshit, different decade.
Yeah. But either, honestly, I don't know if it's how they played it. They didn't have chemistry in that way.
No.
Duncan was supposed to be the main love interest, and it quickly changes because Rob Thomas sees just the absolute chemistry that Veronica and Logan and the actors who play them have. And so that's why it switched to Veronica and Logan. If I'm going to keep it 100, Duncan was boring. I was bored. Never.
He was vanilla. He was toast.
Like, they had no chemistry. And I was like, why do they keep pushing this towards us? But also,
I didn't mind their relationship.
It was so boring. Like, and you know what it is? Duncan was what Veronica's past was. And quite honestly, when they were trying to be together, it was them trying to live in the past.
Yeah.
Too much stuff had happened for it to ever go back to how it was. And I just feel like the chemistry between the actors just were not there.
Yeah. And Jason Dohrning said that the reason why their chemistry was so good was that because he was literally in love with Kristen Bell for the 3 years that they shot seasons 1 through 3. And so Rob immediately picked up on that and then decided to write the Logan, Veronica, the love connection.
Yes. Their moniker was literally love. Love. Logan and Veronica. Like, I couldn't make it up better if I wanted to. And I know Jackie's not a love fan, but whatever, no big deal. I've ridden solo before. And
so that's a good segue into, so we've given a lot of backstory on Veronica Mars. Let's get into some hot takes.
Okay.
And number 1 is Piz or Logan.
I don't really know if it's a hot take as much as a wrong take. But go ahead, spin that Piz.
So we meet Stosh Pizarski, right? In season 3, he is Wallace's roommate, and then he and Veronica start dating. They take a little break, and then in the movie, they have reunited after a few years. So
I think they were together. Like, I don't think they reunited.
No, they said there's a line in the movie about
her and Piz?
Yeah.
Oh.
How they had just started
dating again.
Because it wouldn't make sense if they were dating for 7 years and she hadn't met his parents.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
So I am forever a Piz fan. I think he's just, he's the sweetest. He dotes on her. Logan just has so much trauma, and you never really see him grow out of that. Even in season 4, he's got something where he's holding back, even though he's trying to push through it. I don't know. I was never on board with Logan and Veronica. They were too damaged to be together. Individually, they were too damaged to be together.
So I never had a problem with Piz as a character. He is exactly what Veronica deserved. The problem is Veronica was not in the mindset to accept that kind of love. Unfortunately,
she needed the drama, and Piz was drama free.
She needed a therapist, and before she dated anybody. The problem is with Logan, they both have different trauma, but they also they trauma bonded. They, you know, the what happened to them is a situation where I could understand that no one else is going to understand. Like I could tell somebody, but they're not going to understand in the same way that those two understand. And I could see why they keep coming back to each other. I do disagree that Logan does not grow, because I believe in the movie and in the 4th season that he has shown some growth. It's not perfect. He still needs to go to more therapy. I think another reason for him to be so guarded is because I truly believe Veronica did break his heart, as vice versa. Like in the 3rd season, they fight a lot, but it's because Veronica does not know how to trust Logan completely, and Logan doesn't know how to trust that Veronica can
take care of herself and not find trouble.
And honestly, I don't even know if he doesn't trust her. It's that he is completely worried about. He loves her, and imagine being with someone and you're constantly seeing them go through so much pain, and they're putting themselves in those situations. Like she can't even help herself. So the same kind of fear that her dad has is the same that Logan has, but I think her dad does say, okay, you know what? You're gonna figure this out, and I'm here if you need it. And Logan doesn't know how to do that. And I think that's a response to the fact that if you look at it, Logan's dad used to physically abuse him. We find out Logan's dad actually killed his girlfriend and is a psychopath. His mother killed herself. His sister's a liar. So like all the adults in his life have never been consistent with him. His best friend had to leave and go to another country. His girlfriend is dead. Like that makes sense why you would be fucked up.
Yeah, I don't disagree with all of that. I'm just saying like they should have gone to lots of therapy before attempting a relationship.
Yeah. Besides the trauma bonding, I just think they have really good chemistry, and you can tell that they love each other. What she has for Piz is that she loves him, but like it's kind of like soulmate versus you'll do. I don't want to say that, but it's the truth. Like you could tell Veronica she loves Piz. He's a great person, but it's also like she knows this is probably a better option for her. He's good on paper. If I were going to pick, actually, out of all the people that are on the show, I would pick Max. I think that's his name. No, that's his real name.
Leo.
I would pick Leo. Now, I do know that there's an age gap and it's a little weird, but I believe he was like 21.
And she was
17, 16 when they met. So that's questionable, but I thought they had extremely good chemistry as well. And
I love Leo.
Yeah. He seems less psychotic.
I think he has enough experience just being in like a similar field to her to kind of know like when to protect and when to hang back and just let her do what Veronica's gonna do.
Yeah.
And they do in season 4, spoilers, they do in season 4 kind of allude to that might be a possibility.
Yeah.
Veronica and Leo.
I said, oh, this is what you're going to do? Spoiler alert. They kill Logan in the 4th season. Maybe just take that out. I don't want to make other people bad. Just take that part out.
Okay.
The 4th season is traumatic for me to watch because something really bad happens. And the reason it happens is so fucking stupid. It makes me so
Hot
angry.
takes from Danielle.
I'm not the only one. The whole internet was pissed. Okay.
Except for me, I'm like, nah. Okay.
Whatever,
moving
Jackie.
on.
Whatever. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into another hot take. Who was your favorite guest star? I feel like I know who it's going to be.
Really? Because I don't. I really don't know who. There's so many guest stars.
Yeah. Here, let's run down. I have a list of guest stars. Some of them I feel like are not guest stars though, because they have so much of an arc.
There's a show from that used to be on NBC called Just Shoot Me.
Mhm.
And I used to like it. It was a sitcom, and Enrico was on it, and Laura San Giacomo guest starred. I think it was the second or third season.
I believe it's the
And
third season.
yeah, and because her and Enrico had like they were love interests on that show, I thought that was a cute guest star.
I love that. I loved her on Veronica Mars.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's my favorite. Go ahead. What are you going to say?
I thought you were going to go with Aaron Ashmore, who plays Troy Vandergriff.
Mm-mm. Like I remember watching when I was watching it, I was like, ooh, I like him. Like, let date him. Veronica, get a boyfriend. Because I didn't see the Logan thing I didn't see it coming right away.
Yeah.
So I was rooting for her to find love. I feel like yours is probably Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
I do really like, I don't like his storyline at all, but just for Jonathan Taylor Thomas to randomly show up on Veronica Mars after not acting for quite a while, like we
Yeah.
hadn't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
And then he just randomly shows up as an undercover FBI agent because he looks so young. He's posing as a high school student.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to name off some others. We have Paris Hilton was a guest star, Kyla Pratt.
Now with Paris Hilton, that the network made Rob Thomas put her on.
Yep.
So
Jane Lynch,
which she was on Party Down. So
Jessica Chastain.
that one was, I don't know. I mean, yeah, that was before she was famous.
Jonathan Bennett.
Love him. Another Mean Girls character.
Aaron Paul. Anthony Anderson.
Yeah. When Anthony Anderson played like a fake P. Diddy kind of role. It
was not believable.
It was so bad. It was so bad.
Monique Coleman.
Oh wow. What did she do? I don't remember her.
She played Gabrielle Pollard, a friend of Yolanda's who offers Veronica some guidance for finding the missing girl. It was the same episode as Anthony Anderson.
Okay. It was the black episode.
Yeah, it was. Adam Scott.
I do love Adam Scott, but he was a bad guy in that.
He was.
Yeah.
Christine Lakin.
Oh, right. Sweet Knees. Susan Knight.
Yes. Allison Hannigan plays Logan's sister.
I think that would probably be my answer, would be just the Scooby Gang, any of them showing up. I was very, very excited when Charisma Carpenter showed up being home mama.
Logan starts banging.
Yeah, gross. Steve Gutenberg showing up was crazy. And he played that role so well. I was very creeped out by him. He was a Chester molester. It was like, whoa, didn't see that coming. And also his daughter was played by Kristen Ritter, which was again before she became famous. So
yep.
And she came back for the movie.
Zachary Ty Bryan, we have another Home Improvement kid.
Oh, he was an ass.
He was. Who else?
Sydney Poitier's daughter was the journalism teacher for, I think, like the first season, which I was like, oh, wow. I didn't know he had a daughter.
Tessa Thompson.
Yes.
Valkyrie.
She was super annoying.
She was.
Like, not her. She played the role well, but her character was getting on my nerves.
Ari Grainer, who I absolutely love. I love her in anything she does, especially Nick and Nora's infinite play. Infinite Playlist.
Yeah.
She's so fucking good at it.
There's a movie that she did where she played a phone sex person with her roommate. Actually, it's Seth Rogen's wife. I'm upset because these people have real names and I don't want to define her as Seth Rogen's wife, but I'll keep on going.
Okay. Kevin Smith, which his character was kind of like fangirling over the fact that the bus crashed. So I wasn't super impressed with that, but Kevin Smith. Cress Williams.
Love him. Let me talk about Cress Williams for a second. That man does not, I know I say black don't crack a lot, but he does not age. Let's just do the math here. This man had to be in his like 20s or so when he played Khadijah's love interest on Living Single, right? Next, now we're in 2004. He's on Veronica Mars. He then, later on, he's Black Lightning. He was on Heart of Dixie. And each time he is still playing said 30-year-old person. And I'm like, he's got to be at least 50 by now.
Here, I'm trying to look and see. Do a little guess his age.
I mean, on Heart of Dixie.
He was born in Germany.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, guess his age.
I said he got to be 50. What is it?
53.
Okay.
Well, he'll be 53 this year.
And even that side-eyeing because you've been on my TV screen for way too long, sir. Way too freaking long.
And as we said, Joss Whedon. Who else? Lucy Lawless.
I love her.
I do too. Kristen Cavallari shows up.
Yeah, it was very late 2000 kind of vibes between her and Paris Hilton.
Both Michael Cera and Aaliyah Shawkat.
Oh yeah,
from Arrested Development. The one that breaks my heart, Ryder Strong.
Oh, he was a jerk. Okay, so there are a few Freaks and Geeks cast members on the show as well. Mm-hmm. I have too many things to look up.
We have Rochelle Affair.
What was she in? Is that a she?
Yeah, I know her as Victoria from Twilight, the first Twilight, before she was recast. I really like her as an actor.
Me too. And the fact they recast her with boring ass Bryce Dallas Howard, it's a shame. Yep. Not that I've ever watched the Twilight movies.
Oh. Allegedly.
Allegedly, that's what I heard. I finally found the movie with the sex phone operators. It's called For a Good Time. Came out in 2012. If you haven't seen it, it's actually pretty damn good. And watch it. Lauren Miller is the actress that's in it. Lauren Miller Rogen, who is Seth Rogen's wife.
She's married to Seth Rogen.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, Danielle, you ready for my favorite? I got to them.
Okay.
You want to guess?
I already attempted to guess. Who else is there? Let me think. Oh, we also have to mention before we get there is Harry Hamlin and Lisa Rinna, who are awful human beings. I must say it. If you watch Beverly Hills, you already know, but you don't even need to watch that show. You could just read Harry Hamlin's racist ass book.
Why does his face look like it's made out of Play-Doh?
I don't know, but I want to know. See, honestly, I watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills in passing, but I want to know what does in
passing mean?
Every now and again. Stop questioning me. Anywho, I want to know what the secrets are, because anytime you mention that man's name to Lisa Rinna in any way, she fucking loses her shit. And so I'm like, well, what's going on there? What's going on? I got to know. Listeners, if you know, what are the secrets? Because I'm curious. Continue.
So Jackie's favorite guest star It is one Mr. Ed Begley Jr.
Oh, I
as
don't
the
even. Of
dean.
course, I knew that. I'm sorry. Yes.
I just adore him. I don't know why.
He's a great actor and he's
He
an
is.
environmentalist.
He rides his bike to toast his toast. Like, who wouldn't love that? He did a great job as the dean. I think he and Kristen Bell had really great chemistry in all their scenes. It was just a delight. Let's see who else.
Okay, from the Freaks and Geeks cast, Sam Levine was on there, and he was actually on the same episode as Ryder Strong, and Martin Starr was on the show and in the movie. I feel like Becky Ann Miller might have been on it, but I have to triple check on that one. And Sarah Hagen. Okay, I'm checking.
We actually have a couple of Glee stars. We mentioned Jean Lynch, but we also had Diana Agron, who guest starred. Oh, we had Charles, not going to be able to say his last name, Shaughnessy from The Nanny.
Oh, Mr. Sheffield.
And then, of course, Paul Rudd, Nelson Ellis. And then in the movie, we get a little Jamie Lee Curtis and Jerry O'Connell. And then, of course, Dax Shepard shows up in the movie as well.
Of course. I was wrong. Sarah Hagen was not on the show.
So, lots of up and coming stars. It's very much, even now when I rewatch it, I'm like, oh, I forgot that person was on
yeah.
this. Like,
and you have to keep watching the show because so many more people get famous.
Yeah. So, what was your favorite one episode crime arc?
That's hard. Okay, I remember, I don't know if it's my favorite, but I definitely remember in college when the third episode where they figure out who the rapist is. It's the mid-season finale of the third season. I just remember it just being so amped, and how it starts is like her running in that song, and it's just like, wait a minute. We're because the season itself had started off kind of, it was just like pretty boring. I'm not gonna lie. It was just not giving season 1 or season 2, but that one kind of ramped it up a little bit. Oh gosh, another from the bus at the episode when we find out about Beaver, and I think it's the season 2 finale. Because I didn't see it coming. Like,
yeah,
I didn't figure him into that equation at all. That was just like, whoa. And him unaliving himself, like all of that was just nuts.
He was such a great acting choice.
Yeah.
For Beav. Like yeah,
he did a great job.
I would say that's my favorite episode, is the season finale of season 2. My favorite one episode crime arc, I do like the one where it's at the festival and the cash box goes missing.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Veronica alley-oops a bunch of people in that, which I love. And so does Weevil. So
I also like the episode where this Russian lady comes and says that she's looking for this man that she fell in love with by his weird dog, and turns out that the guy's actually in witness protection, and like her dad has to get involved because, you know, Veronica does always act like she knows everything, and that was a good episode to kind of shift gears to remind us that, you know, you're still learning, kid. You're still learning.
She's fallible. She's not all-knowing.
When she almost gets murdered by the Fitzpatricks at that bar, that was very nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Okay, least favorite episode. Are there any that stand out as like, I need to skip this?
No, I don't think there's any episodes I skip, but like plot lines. Season 3 is the hardest. Season 3 like has less standout episodes. And every time I do a rewatch, that's usually where I get stuck trying to finish, unfortunately.
My least favorite episode is in season 3. It's the one with Ryder Strong where they're prisoners and they have to try and get the information out of them.
Yeah.
It's just so hard to watch, and he makes the kid pee himself, and then afterwards, like, they're buddies again. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way he's this mean to you in a circumstantial situation, and then you go back to being like chummy.
Friends,
like yeah. I can't stand that, especially because I love Ryder Strong so much, and like to see him be that mean, I'm like, oh, Sean.
One of the things that I don't like that happens on the show, not once but twice, is that people, like, for Veronica to get friends that are female after what happened to Lily is just so rare. So the deterioration of her friendship with Meg in the second season, and it's not even just that they stop being friends, like Meg like hates Veronica, but the thing is, Meg ends up dating Duncan, and I feel like she messes with girl code. Veronica says it's fine, but clearly, like, that is not fine, girl. You know, so the fact that Duncan ends up getting back with Veronica and she's so mad, it's just like, dude, you broke girl code. And this is
But
why
there's a reason why she was mad.
she's mad, because she's pregnant.
Yeah.
But she still broke girl code.
I get it. And I don't think, as much as Veronica deserves a lot of what she gets in the show, she did not deserve that anger from Meg.
No, it was misplaced.
Mm.
The whole thing was messy at the end of the day. And, you know, essentially, I guess you could say she breaks girl code too, because she's dating her best friend's boyfriend. Yes, Lily is dead, but still, that's gross. And then in the third season, when Mac's roommate, who I never liked her character, what's her name? It's Parker. So Julie Gonzalo actually plays the role of Parker. She joins this season in the third season when they're at college, and we find out that her character actually gets raped, and in the midst of her getting raped, Veronica actually goes back in the room but has no idea that she's being raped because she's been roofied. But Parker ends up dating Logan, which Parker's trying to pretend that, like, they're, you know, like they were starting to have like a friendship, the three of them. And it was just like, girl, no.
Well, and the fact that Parker got so mad at Veronica, and number one, Veronica was drunk when she literally came into the dorm room long enough to grab tickets off of like the desk and then leave again. And like Parker's so mad at her, like, what, you think I'm just gonna sleep around? Girl, that's what you've been doing.
It wasn't a good situation, and Parker was probably just so hurt, because, like, imagine you've been raped and you find out somebody could have stopped it, but like they assumed, like, it's a hard situation both ways. So I understand why Parker was upset and why she even took it out in that way, because she's probably just so frustrated and sad and upset. It just came out in the wrong way. But don't date my boyfriend, bitch. Because I say boyfriend more than ex, because the whole third season, Logan and Veronica are on and off again. So, like,
until like I would say the last third is when she starts dating Piz.
Right. Also, I put a lot of onus on Logan on that. Like, there are so many batches on this campus, and you're gonna go after somebody in my immediate circle. You fucked up with that one. Yeah. He also dates that very young girl in season 2.
That was the same episode as the
carnival. Yeah. That girl, I believe she ended up being on Supernatural as well as the girl who plays Meg. But she looked like a child. It was super weird, that relationship. And Logan also fucked up a lot. Like, out of all the people, Logan, like Parker, annoyed, fine. The young girl, weird. But when he slept with Madison, who is the reason that Veronica was raped in the, I don't want to say first or second season because it happened before the show really starts, but we find out she was roofied and raped. That was because Madison was getting roofied herself and spit in Veronica's cup, spit it back out, and gave it to Veronica to drink. She didn't know.
She gave her a trip to the dentist.
What, such a bitch.
But as much as I hate Madison didn't know that there was GHB.
I know,
in
but
the cup.
I get that.
That's on Dick.
Yeah, it is Dick's fault. I do think one of the things that I don't like about the show is the use of sexual assault as a storyline or a way to move the storyline.
It was used multiple times. Like, if it was just like Veronica was trying to figure out who her sexual assaulter was.
Right.
That's one thing. But then in season 3, it's the whole overarching first half of season 3.
I feel like it wasn't needed in season 2 at all for the whole Beaver storyline. It wasn't needed at all. But I think it was very relevant to them being in college because it is so prevalent. They do talk about the fraternities and the parties and just like, you know, that was a relevant conversation. But in season 2, not necessary at all.
Okay. So, what are your thoughts on the movie?
The movie gives crowdfunding vibes because, you know, it didn't have as much money per se, but I liked that story arc way better than the bullshit we got in season 4. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I like how, you know, what happened in that sense.
We get a little Gabby Hoffman as stalker fan.
Yeah. Forgot she was in that. Yeah. I thought at the time, you and I were just so ecstatic that because we thought, okay, we're never going to get anything else out of this. So just to see that they crowdfunded and were able to get so much of the cast to come back, and I, being a Love fan, finally got them to wrap up, you know, because season 3 we were left on a cliffhanger and Veronica and Logan were not together anymore, so it was just like gut-wrenching, you know, that's how it ended. So with season 4 it brought them back together and you're just like R.I.P. Piz, sorry. I mean his relationship. So to this point I just like to watch the movie and that's my ending. Season 4 doesn't exist for me.
I love the movie. It's one of my comfort movies. It's consistently on my iPad along with Wedding Date, and it's one of those movies like I just turn it on if I need background noise. I think it's well written, well executed, well acted. Obviously, they had a minimal budget, but I think they did a lot with the budget that they had, and I know they probably got a lot of the cast back at a steep discount just because they love Veronica Mars as a series so much that they were willing to come back and do it. Season 4, it just had a different feel to it.
Yeah. And it's also to be noted that like when they did see the movie, it was right after Kristen Bell had her baby. And what I loved about it as well was that she publicly said, look, I just had a baby. I'm not in any rush to like lose all this weight. It is what it is kind of situation. But her dedication as an actress, because she's what you would most likely consider, you know, A-list, and she didn't have to go back to this role. And she just always seemed really open. She loves this character and she really loves the fans and shows us that dedication. So I think that always makes me really happy.
Yeah.
Hello, no more late fees, besties. My name is Shalina, and I'm an avid listener of Jackie and Danielle's movie rewatch talks, who also has a podcast of her own. It's called Everything 90s Podcast, and it's a show I created to connect with fellow 90s kids by spending each episode reminiscing on anything and everything related to growing up in the 90s. Topics range from music, TV shows, movies, books, and games, just to name a few. So if you're interested, search Everything 90s Podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcast and give it a listen. Thank you so much and take care.
Any closing thoughts on season 4?
I don't know what that is.
We do get Patton Oswalt, who is a little deranged in it. I thought his part was well acted. We do get a Veronica protege in Maddie, the high schooler whose father was killed in one of the bombings. We do get a little bit of Leo in our life. Yeah, I don't mind season 4. I don't have as much attachment to some characters and their situations as the season unfolds.
I just don't like that we don't really get a lot of Veronica and Wallace at all, which saddens me that, I don't understand why. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, Wallace is married and has a baby. So it does show kind of the natural progression of friendships as you get older and get married and things like that.
Yeah, I just feel like they could have figured something out.
He still helps her out. He's a coach at Neptune High now. And
why would he go back? That never made set well with me.
Especially because he was trying to be a mechanical engineer or electrical engineer, some sort of engineer.
Right. And now you're a teacher. But you know what? It does show in season 3 how much he struggles in his math classes.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing he had to pivot, but like, I don't understand. And I'm mad that Mac wasn't back.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we got closure on her character in the movie at all. And Weevil, like in the movie, Weevil is kind of like come full circle. He's doing well. And then in the TV show, they just like completely,
it's a trauma response.
They unravel all that growth.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a trauma response because he in the movie is shot by Celeste Kane, Duncan's mom, because she's lost on the wrong side of the tracks. He actually knocks on the window to try and help her, and she shoots him.
Racist is what it is.
And so you can see that hardness come back to Weevil when he's in the hospital and he's kind of like, I'm doing everything right. Like in the movie, we do get Jerry O'Connell as the younger brother of Sheriff Lamb. He is the new sheriff, just as corrupt, even more so because he does it for the gram. He needs those views. So I did really enjoy Jerry O'Connell in that role because it was just the right amount of like smarm and charm together.
Right.
Okay. Anything else we want to cover for our beloved Veronica Mars? Any closing words before we get into fun facts?
This show is one of my favorites. It's a comfort show, and I just love the dynamic. I do want to talk about the father-daughter dynamics of the show. Obviously, Veronica grows up with her mom her entire life, so it's not like it was just always her and her dad. But her mom was an alcoholic, so I think that definitely speaks through some of her actions. But I just love how much her dad will like stand up for her and show up for her, and that they have their own little fun dynamic. I very much gravitated to their relationship. And I love how like funny and silly her dad was, and how he would cook for her. It was a lot of attributes that I felt a lot with my dad. So I love their dynamic. Like I said, I really do love the dynamic between Wallace and Veronica. If you think about it, we don't get a ton of shows where we have a guy and girl be completely platonic and it's just like a really nurturing friendship, especially in a high school drama. I think the writing on the show was just impeccable. And I think, the reason they probably had Joss Whedon on was because if Veronica Mars was a child, Buffy the Vampire Slayer was its mama. It's definitely just being able to see a full, just fleshed out female character lead who could be extremely flawed. And it was, she was not fitting into that stereotype. And I think her being blonde and petite and having the look of what we're of TV, but just like absolutely be a mess. So great show. If you haven't seen this show, you should definitely watch it.
I agree. It just, the writing is so witty and clever. Even the mysteries, they don't seem forced. They seem like, especially when she's in high school, it's like real problems high schoolers have and might go to a junior private eye for, like my dog's missing, my dad left when I was little, can you help me find him? Those type of things. I love them. It's just such a well-written, well-acted show. Like I said, I really can't find, like, obviously we can pick apart the characters, but like the characters, they have flaws, and that's what makes you love them, is like, oh, they're like me. They have trauma too that they're trying to figure out, and maybe not the most healthy way. And just seeing like teenagers navigate through young adult life and things like that. The dynamic of the mom leaving because she was an alcoholic, and Veronica coming to terms with that.
And her mom stealing her money to go to rehab. Like any person who's dealt with an alcoholic parent or a parent who's addicted to drugs, like, knows this very sad dynamic and traumatic dynamic between your parent and having to kind of deal with that. And that was heartbreaking.
It was twice.
Yeah.
It was Veronica used her college money that she had been saving, because obviously her dad can't put her through college. So Veronica had been saving all of her money, decides to use it to put her mom in rehab. Her mom checks out like 3 days later. And then later on, she comes home, pretends that she's sober. We find out that she's not. And then Veronica essentially solves a crime big enough where like her and her dad are getting 50 grand or something like that. It was a pretty big amount. Maybe it was 25. And it was written out in a way where the mom could cash it. And so the mom steals the check and takes off again.
Yeah, this show does a really good job telling stories about, again, class and the diversity on this show. If you look at any of the teen shows at this time, 10 times better than most, and telling those stories from different unique voices and calling out a lot of the
systemic
inequities that are happening just in that town, but speak to larger issues, and they call out Veronica in the sense that, like, yeah, you're not rich anymore, but you were living with like the 09ers for a long time and you were looking the other way at all these things, and now you want to help. So like, I think it holds a really good mirror to their characters as well. So yeah, great show.
Well, that's Veronica Mars. Any other fun facts we want to point out? Danielle, did you know that one Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wrote an episode of season 4?
I do now.
He wrote episode 6, Entering a World of Pain.
I love that he wrote an episode. I didn't know that.
The We Used to Be Friends by the Dandy Warhols was used as the series theme song. And then we get a cover of it for the movie.
So Rob Thomas originally wrote Veronica Mars as a young adult novel for Simon and Schuster Publishing Company and was originally written with a male lead. However, Thomas changed the gender of the protagonist because he thought a noir piece told from a female point of view would be more interesting and unique. And thank God he did, because we don't need no more Sherlock Holmes.
We do not.
Rip-offs of Sherlock Holmes, I guess you could say.
And upon the cancellation of the series, fans sent more than 10,000 Mars bars to the CW in hopes to get it renewed.
I know those campaigns well. I was sending Tabasco sauces to the WB when they canceled Roswell. R.I.P.
Okie doke. Danielle, we did it. We went through our favorite No More Late Fees series. As soon as we started the podcast, I insisted this was going to be, I set out for it to be our 100th episode. We can't count. So it's 101.
I was just like, whatever you want.
So why don't you tell everyone where they can find us?
Well, you guys know the drill. At this point, you got to follow us on our socials at No More Late Fees. We are on Facebook. I don't even like saying that. Ugh, meta. Fuck you.
But we're on Instagram too, which is so meta.
I'm getting there. Instagram, the gram, boo. But we're there. TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. We're there as well.
We are.
Just follow us at No More Late Fees. We have really fun videos and pictures. And right now we're celebrating our 2-year anniversary, so you should check it out. I don't even think we need to do this rating situation because clearly for both of us, it's a would buy it again.
Yeah, I think we've made it pretty clear. If you have not watched Veronica Mars, highly suggest going and watching it. It holds up. It's just fantastic. I love it so much.
Yeah, it really does hold up. Like there aren't a lot of things like rewatching it that are like, that didn't do well. Like it ages I forget that this show started in 2004.
Yeah. It's almost 20 years old and we're still rocking it.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
So if you are a fellow Marshmallow, or maybe you were inspired to watch Veronica Mars and you want to give us your feedback on it, hit us up at our quick drop 909-601 and MLF 909-601-6653. You can twat us at the Twitters or leave a message on our Spotify for podcasts. Is that what the fuck it's called now? Yeah, Spotify for Podcasters account. That's a stupid name.
And join us next week as we follow Stanley Yelnats as he's digging in the 2003 movie Holes.
And as always, be kind and rewind. Digging up that holes.
I never seen that movie.